how's everyone doing today? Hopefully everyone's doing well. 28th of April. We got 2 more days to go. I feel like my... Am I having a stroke? I feel like my body is lopsided. Like to the right. Like I feel like my right side is collapsing. It's like it's skewed to the side. Is it me? I think maybe. I feel like, is it? Am I having a stroke? Is that why my body look like it goes that way? I feel like all my body is collapsing to the right. Oh no. Oh no! I acted as if I can do anything about it. Maybe I can. I just don't know what. Is it worth pursuing? I love how I just wasted 1 whole minute for that. You should be used to it by now. So it's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I got out of bed around 3 again today, but I went to sleep around 5 in the morning today, like this morning. So it was a bit difficult going into sleep and also difficult maintaining sleep. I'm not sure what's happening. Maybe it's the weather. We are changing from, kind of hot, humid weather to wintry weather, and the weather is kind of still indecisive about where it wants to go. Maybe that's why my body is, if you don't know, my sensory systems is extremely sensitive. It's part of the autistic traits, and I'm basically right now listening to this seminar on YouTube, and I heard them mentioning that in DSM-5 that ASD is no longer a diagnosis. I'm not sure what's happening. I need to rewind and listen to that. So I might not be correct in saying that I have ASD now. It used to be Asperger, and then they converted that to ASD level 1 in 2013 apparently, or 2016. I'm not sure about the date, but they did that. And then now I'm hearing that it's no longer even a diagnosis. I don't know what's happening. But anyway, so one of the funny thing that happened 3 minutes in, now we're starting to have a conversation. One of the funniest thing that happened this morning was I woke up and then suddenly I had this realization I was abused when I was a kid. And I had this image in my mind that this person was the abuser. And it was a close personal person, like in my life or when I was growing up anyway. And I realized, okay, this person was an abuser and I was an abuse victim. And it wasn't sexual or anything like that, so it was more probably classified as CTPSD, which is complex CPTSD complex. What is it? PTSD. What does PTSD stand for? You just add C in front of it, which is complex. Traumatic. I know T stand for traumatic, and D for disorder. So PTSD. Anyway, and it was funny. I felt like, I mean, it was obvious, but I think maybe because they are still very close to the child part of me, because when you're growing up you are very vulnerable, and if something happens or if someone behave badly, you blame yourself rather than blaming them, because if you blame them you don't know what the consequences are, etc., etc. I'm not sure what the rationalizations of it is, but I remember I used to rationalize a lot about when they do or misbehave. But this morning those words came to me like, you were abused, she was an abuser. You are a victim, and there was some sort of acceptance to that. Like there was this really calm moment. It is that moment that I mentioned yesterday about moving up the scale. You know, when you move up a scale, the next thought would come to you, and these were the thoughts. And it seems very obvious to me, and but I think the feeling of these thoughts were different. The feelings were ones of acceptance, ones of acknowledgement, one of not blaming anyone, not even trying to be resentful or angry. There is no emotion. If there were an emotion that would be attached to these two sentences, it would be peace. It would be a peaceful resolution, acknowledgement, and acceptance. And I was like, okay, I understand now. And it was funny, and that was that. Like, there was no kind of follow up to it. It was as if that whatever emotion I had prior to that was being released, was being let go. And that was the key two words, that the key two sentences that were allowed me to let them go, because I felt like, oh, okay. And then I went straight back to sleep. But the peaceful feeling stayed, and I'm not sure whether the anger or resentment is going to come back or not. Like they may be coming back, and it's definitely not something I would count on, like not coming back, because we never know what's going to happen. I never know what's going to happen. So, but it was definitely worth it to kind of just hang on to those feeling of anger and resentment without trying to heavily dismiss them, or like I was just feeling them and then distract myself with other positive thoughts, just not to get myself over the top with the anger and with the resentment into a rage mode. So I was happy that I was doing that, and I'm glad that I did that, because if I didn't do that, I would not have arrived to that moment this morning, which was full acceptance of what had happened without making any excuses. Even though the statements could be perceived as very ugly, the feeling that came with the statements were very peaceful, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that it was full acceptance without any excuse giving, without any resentment building or blaming, and it was nice. It was nice. It was just nice. It was just like, okay, yeah, yeah, and then I just went back to sleep. But I know that it's real, because now, even if like 7 hours later, I still remember it. It usually, if it's not significant, I would have forgotten about it by now. Especially if you go back to sleep, right? Like if you go back to sleep, usually other things like your brain kind of push in other ideas or other emotion or other things that it wants to process that is more important than the one that you frivolously experienced, if it was not important. Also, I finished queuing up my social media stuff, 2000s of them. So I am a bit of a loss of in my life right now, because I was expecting it to be done next month, because I was expecting it to do like 100 or 200 a day. So that I thought, oh, okay, 2000, that would take me about 3-4 weeks. I thought I would be like very lazy about it, and I have put that measure in, like, oh shit, I'm probably gonna be lazy, distracted with other things, and not gonna be doing it properly, so I would be sick of it doing it. Apparently, not. So I'm not really sure what to do with myself now. I am about 2 weeks ahead of schedule. I'm thinking of like just trying to do another 2000 post, queue another 2000. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, if you have a blog, or if you have any type of any type of e-commerce stuff going on the internet, where you basically sell stuff on the internet, you depend your money on the internet, you need to have some sort of social media presence. And the most important presence of all is Pinterest. And Pinterest this year have started to kind of stopped all measures from um, free platforms to pin on their platform. So before I was using IFTTT, which is like if this then that, as a way to pin uh, my products on Pinterest for free, but they have stopped that. They have stopped any type of RSS feed to go into the platform, because it's basically they're saying it's bringing on junk and spam, and they don't want that. So now I feel they are going to receive kind of kickback from different platform like Buffer or Tailwind, when you sign up to these two platforms to pin your pin onto Pinterest. But these two platforms are paid platforms, so they're not free. So I'm assuming Pinterest probably gonna get some portion of that money if people signed up for um, on these two platforms or other platforms. I'm pretty sure there are other platforms like Zapier. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just write down automations Pinterest on Google and you might have to do your research on that. So now, reluctantly, I paid for one of them and queued a bunch of posts for Pinterest because I know, like for me, Instagram doesn't work. I never ever make money from Facebook advertising. I'm probably doing it wrong. I'm not sure, but I spent almost, I don't spend a lot on Facebook advertising because I want to know whether something works first or not, like for me, and how much will it work for. And it never just worked for me for Facebook or Instagram. Instagram for me is a bust. It never works for me at all. Um, and Pinterest is the only thing that works because you can track your traffic from, which platform it comes from. And most of majority of my traffic comes from Pinterest. And before it was free, but now I can't have it for free. So either I have to do it manually, which is not advisable because if you do it manually, they will mark you as spam. So now I'm paying. But then I don't mind paying because I know the platform works. So it's a different type of payment, I guess. Yes, I basically just spent 12 minutes, 13 minutes. This is gonna go to instagram.com/ballerine. So if you wanna see my daily painting, go there to Valerine, VALO. It's the same as this channel name on Instagram. So yeah, that's it. That's my basic realization for today. That just an acknowledgement that something has happened in the past, and kind of taking care of myself. It's weird because like something have shifted in my mind. It's like now because I have that perception, she's they are an abuser, he is an abuser, then I feel like I need to protect the inner child in me more. And it feels like any sort of guilt attached to not being social towards them or being anything. It's like it's justified now. It's like yeah. And it was weird because things went through my head as if like I just realized my anxiety actually also related to that. Like I remember like when I was younger that when I relaxed for a little bit I would get called on. It was as if that I wasn't allowed to relax. I wasn't allowed to take a breather. It was as if that the act of just not doing anything was a sin. And I'm like, okay. So there's nothing wrong with me being relaxed. There's nothing wrong with me not doing anything productive or resting. There's nothing wrong with me resting. What's wrong was that I was in the wrong place with the wrong type of people that makes me conditioned to be expecting of abuse when you are resting. So I think that's the anxiety that is attached to that. But of course, also anxiety just being autistic in general. If anything disrupt my routine, I will just go in the 2 3 days bender of having high palpitations, heart rate, and just not being able to sleep for 3 days before coming down and then burning out and collapsing and then shut down. The whole gamut. We all been there. I have been there a lot. So now I guess I'm kind of more clear about what will happen if this happen, what I should avoid. It feels like it's crystallizing into more of a solid form for me, and I'm kind of liking it because if things are more tangible and solid, even if it's as a concept, it's a lot easier to arrange and organized, even if it's in my mind, or if because like it would make me able to kind of plan ahead. If this happened, oh my god, I would do this and this. So there will be an implementations of self-care if something is out of the routine, or something completely out of left wing, hit the center. So yeah, it's a good thing. It's almost 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock probably now. I'm gonna eat. Haven't eaten anything yet until. I am eating more than once a day now. I'm trying to eat 3 times a day, even though if it's within like a very constricted time period between whatever I wake up and until 10 o'clock at night. Because after about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, my mind is just like not on food anymore. It's like I cannot think about food at all. Like my body is just like, man, you're supposed to be bloody sleep right now. Why are you eating? So yeah. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. 2 more days. 2 more days. Tomorrow and the next day, and we are out. And I'll be just going back to my regular, random posting type of videos. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.